Greta's Greatest Gift by Keelan Lawforg. Nothing stood out about Greta. She lived in a little cottage with a welcoming glow in the windows. She seemed to lead a quiet existence. She kept her house tidy and did all her own chores. She was vivacious for an 80-year-old, but not to the point in raised any eyebrows. She kept up the habit her mother had taught her of baking a loaf of bread each day. She'd grown up in the Great Depression and she knew how to squeeze the best value out of a dollar. Her kitchen was simple, but it was always sparklingly clean. The aroma of bread browning in the oven filled the whole household. She had plenty of friends that dropped in for tea. She served them jam on bread and hot, milky tea. They never wanted to leave again. They were so taken in by her charming home and the warmth of her presence. It felt like a hug to an affection-starved soul. Most of Greta's friends were friends she had had for decades. They had grown up in that very town. People didn't tend to move around as much then, unless they had an unavoidable reason to do so. She'd known them in every stage of life, and they had inseparable bonds, but one of Greta's friends was new. She had only known Marcia for a year or two. She was notably younger than her and she inspired interest from the surrounding community because no one could quite figure out why she was there. However, they knew just how predictably kind Greta was. They supposed she must have been a niece of hers or a more distant family member that didn't bear any resemblance to Greta. Marcia tended to arrive after dark more often than in daylight. She didn't cause as much of a stir in the close-knit community whenever she did that. She could sneak into the cottage and talk to Greta in peace, shielded by the heavy plush curtains. They talked all night, and Marcia often wondered when Greta slept and why she could do without it at her age. She had more energy than all the kids in the neighborhood combined. Marcia pulled an envelope from her bag. She opened it in a way that made Greta brighten with excitement. Their next assignment had arrived. Greta loved the firm. She'd built it out of her own imagination, and it performed well. She didn't tell people she knew that she was a private investigator. She didn't want the neighbors to know what she was up to. She knew all too well how nosy people could be, and that was the kind of late-life career choice that would prompt questions. Greta was brought up to believe that you shouldn't ask someone questions unless the person chose to bring the subject up first, but she noticed that many others hadn't received that instruction. By the dim light of the fire, she opened the envelope and began to read. Her eyes were sharp for her age. She didn't like having to play the part of the ailing pensioner. She was anything but vulnerable. She could have run circles around most of the police force, but being an elderly bread-baking neighborly type that pruned plants and performed small acts of kindness allowed her to live two lives, and that suited her. She kept her privacy and people assumed that she was just a regular grandmother. She skim-read the letter. It was from a lady that suspected her abducted sister was murdered by a family member, but the case had gone cold a long time ago. Greta sank back into her luxuriously soft cushions. She loved the supple seat on which she had got to the bottom of so many crimes and injustices. She spotted the details others missed, even skilled professionals that had badges and thought they had more brains than she did. She knew when to be quiet and when to observe. That was the secret of her success. Marcia got up and added another log to the smoldering fire. She prodded it with the poker, and it flared up, roaring with satisfaction. Marcia felt the shivers leave her skin. She'd walked there on foot for a mile in the depths of winter. Once she got inside Greta's cottage, she never wanted to leave again. It was deliciously homely, and she felt like she was spending time with her own cherished but departed grandmother. She'd had eyes like an eagle too, and she spent a lot of time in quiet observation, but she could cut through a conversation with a single sentence. She was as sharp as a serrated knife. Marcia smiled at Greta as she watched her studying the letter. She read and reread it with a precision that people didn't tend to approach tasks with anymore. Marcia worked in a secretarial role that bored her on a daily basis, so she'd sought out something exciting on the side. Little did she know she'd end up being the sidekick to an 80-year-old private investigator, and one that had solved plenty of cases abandoned by the police. "We have to take this one on," exclaimed Greta. "I can't wait to sink my teeth into it." "Even though you have dentures," Marcia teased. "My dentures are sharper than most people's original set," she said, laughing to herself. That sense of humor was what made working with her such a delight. She had the ability to switch from serious investigator to humorous friend to kind, old bread-baking grandmother, and she never got tired. Marcia hoped she'd be as vivacious at that stage of life. The woman that had disappeared was only 20 years old, and she was presumed missing by choice. The police had labeled her a runaway and given up on finding her years before. Greta turned the photo of the woman over in her hand, looking for writing on the back. No one really did that anymore, but someone had scrawled her name with a heart beside it. The heart had a jagged crack down the middle, and it was dated before the date of death. She was smiling in the photo. She had no idea what was coming to her then. Greta had always loved a good detective novel, the kind of thing you could dive into without budging an inch from your toasty armchair. Getting to solve real-life cases was her life's dream, and at the age of 80, she realized it was never too late to become someone else. She'd find the truth about the woman in the photo, and she thought she'd already found the first clue on the back of that photo. She decided to look into it the next morning, and then she'd make a loaf of her honey oat bread and finish the weeding. "It's miraculous, the amount you get down. I hope I'm as lively at your age," her next-door neighbor would say. "You have no idea," she'd think to herself, and then with a smile, she'd offer them some of her best batch of bread. Inaya and the Gentle Giant by Ishan Gupta. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a precious 4-year-old girl named Inaya. Her heart was as expansive as the endless sky, brimming with love, innocence, and boundless curiosity. Inaya's family had embarked on a journey from India to the distant shores of Ireland, a journey dictated by her parents' work. This transition brought them to a foreign land, leaving behind the familiar and embracing the unknown. Despite her tender age, Inaya was a beacon of strength, adapting to this new chapter of life with a grace that seemed almost magical. Every day in Inaya's world was like a symphony of joy, painted with hues of play, exploration, and laughter that echoed through her toys, her blooming garden, and her dearest friend, Sophia. Inaya and her parents found themselves navigating this new adventure, yet it was the bond between these two young souls that proved to be a guiding light, illuminating the path ahead. One sunny Sunday morning, a special opportunity dawned upon Inaya, a playdate at Sophia's house. Sophia, a steadfast companion from her days at creche and a cherished neighbor in this foreign realm, had extended her hand of friendship, helping Inaya find her footing in the embrace of Dublin. Cloaked in her favorite pink attire, Inaya radiated excitement, a bundle of nerves and anticipation, ready to immerse herself in a day that promised a mosaic of laughter and shared escapades. As Inaya's footsteps approached Sophia's doorstep, her eyes were drawn to a sight that tugged at her heartstrings, a tail wagging with rhythmic enthusiasm. Zach, a golden retriever whose heart was as warm as the honey hues of his fur, stood there, a portrait of unbridled joy. Yet, within Inaya's chest, a whirlwind of emotions swirled. She remembered stories of dogs, their boundless energy, and their powerful presence. Her feelings were a tapestry woven with threads of curiosity, apprehension, and wonder. Sophia, ever perceptive, sensed Aeneas's unease and rushed forward with a luminous smile that could rival the sun. "Hello, Aenea," she chimed, her voice a melody of unwavering cheer. "Meet my furry friend, Zack. He's a sweetheart, I promise." Aenea's uncertainty led her to seek refuge behind her mother's protective embrace, her gaze darting nervously toward Zack. Yet, Zack's tail wagged on, a silent invitation to a friendship yet to be discovered. Still, Aenea's heart quivered, her nervousness cascading into teardrops that clung to her lashes. Sophia's comforting touch, her soothing words, they were lifelines in this sea of emotions. "It's okay, Aenea, dogs can seem big and lively, but Zack is like a cuddly teddy bear." Aenea's tears refused to be held at bay, and in that moment, the arms of Sophia's mother enveloped her in a cocoon of solace. There, Aenea." Her voice was a gentle whisper, a soothing balm to the heart. "Dogs can be scary sometimes, but you take all the time you need." With a graceful gesture, Zack was led to the garden, and Aenea watched through the window. A pang of guilt danced within her chest. She didn't want Zack to feel sad because of her fear. With a soft apology whispered to Sophia, Aenea's voice barely more than a sigh, her response was met with nothing but understanding and compassion. "It's all right, Aenea, new things can be daunting. But remember, Zack is forgiving and patient. We can try again when you're ready." United by a shared resolve, Aenea and Sophia stood at the threshold once more. Zack's tail painted joy in the air, a testament to his unwavering enthusiasm. Aenea watched as Sophia and Zack engaged in a dance of play, forging a bond that seemed insurmountable, a bond rooted in trust and kindness. With Sophia's encouraging words echoing in her heart, Aenea's fingers reached out tentatively, making contact with Zack's velvety fur. It was a sensation that felt like the embrace of a cherished stuffed animal, a source of comfort and warmth. Zack, in his gentle curiosity, nuzzled her hand with a tender sniff and a soft, affectionate lick. While traces of trepidation lingered, a flicker of bravery ignited in the depth of Aenea's gaze. A tender smile, fragile yet resolute, curved Aenea's lips, a testament to the blossoming of courage. Maybe, just maybe, Zack wasn't the intimidating force she had once imagined. Slowly, with her heart as her guide, her hand brushed against Zack's head, earning her a chorus of tail wags that painted the air with elation. Giggles bubbled from Aenea's lips like a stream of pure joy as Zack's tail grazed her hand, a ticklish delight that dissolved the remnants of fear. Through shared games and laughter, through towers constructed from vibrant blocks, and through a shared snack that sealed their camaraderie, Aenea and Sophia's bond grew stronger, illuminated by the warm light of friendship. And intermittently, Zack would join the revelry, his tail an eloquent dance of happiness that mirrored the joy in their hearts. Though shadows of uncertainty occasionally cast their fleeting shadows, they were dwarfed by the burgeoning tapestry of happiness that was being woven. As the sun, a golden orb descending toward the horizon, cast a final golden glow upon the day, Aenea stood on the precipice of a profound realization. The fear that once clung to her heart had begun to loosen its grip. Zack, with his gentle spirit and patient presence, had slowly unraveled the threads of apprehension, revealing the true magic that lay within unexpected connections. Sophia, with her words that dripped with empathy and her smile that radiated warmth, had provided Aenea with an anchor of security, a lighthouse to guide her through the stormy waters of uncertainty. With twilight painting the sky with a tapestry of stars, Aenea's gaze lifted skyward, mirroring the swirling emotions within her. A symphony of accomplishment, courage, and a tinge of bittersweet nostalgia coursed through her veins. But above all, It was gratitude that enveloped her heart, gratitude for Sophia's unwavering compassion, for Zach's unspoken camaraderie. Lessons had been etched into the canvas of her soul, lessons that whispered tales of embracing the unfamiliar, of cherishing the friendships that navigate us through the labyrinth of our fears. And so, empowered by the beacon of Sophia's friendship, Inea surrendered herself to the embrace of slumber, her dreams a tapestry of adventures yet to be explored. In those dreams, she danced with Zach beneath the starlit sky, each step a celebration of newfound bravery. And as her breathing steadied and her eyelashes fluttered, she was ready to traverse the realm of dreams, a realm where courage flourished, friendship bloomed, and the magic of unexpected bonds unfurled, leaving trails of shimmering stardust in their wake. The Heartbeat of Home, Nutmegs Tale by Carol Boeth. The early morning sun cast a warm golden hue over the quaint coastal town in Jamaica, heralding the dawn of yet another delightful day. While most of the town was still submerged in dreams, a certain backyard was already brimming with activity. Nutmeg, an effervescent ball of fur, greeted the day with infectious excitement. This was not merely a pet dog but a source of boundless joy and inspiration for her owner. As the first rays of sunlight washed over the garden, they highlighted the playful dance of a creature with an unparalleled zest for life. Nutmeg, with her vivacious spirit, viewed every fluttering leaf, every scampering squirrel, and every passing car as a new escapade waiting to unfold. In the heart of this town lived Aya, a passionate lover of nature, quiet moments, and most importantly, my canine companion Nutmeg. Our mornings were sacred, a ritual of exploration and bonding. These were moments that transcended the ordinary, turning into timeless memories. However, it was evident that Nutmeg's boundless daytime enthusiasm began infringing on her nocturnal duties. The dog, who would once stand guard, alert to every night sound, had started showing signs of fatigue. Nights would often find her slumbering peacefully, her usual alertness replaced with gentle snores. A decision was made. In the best interest of Nutmeg's health and responsibilities, she was gently restrained in the garden during the day. This decision, although made out of concern, tugged at my heartstrings. Restraining such a free spirit felt unfair, yet, to my surprise, Nutmeg adjusted quickly, almost as if she understood the greater good behind the action. This change in routine bore positive results. That evening, as the sun bid adieu, Nutmeg's transformation was palpable. The energy that she had conserved during the day now fueled her nighttime vigil. Her eyes, usually softened by fatigue, now gleamed with determination and responsibility. Life in this Jamaican town was a blend of the simple and the profound. Days were marked by the rhythmic sounds of reggae, the tantalizing aroma of jerk chicken, and spontaneous rain showers that cooled the tropical air. And in the midst of this vibrant cacophony, the bond between Nutmeg and I deepened. One day, amidst the routine, an encounter with Jamaica's tiniest inhabitants, fire ants, offered a lesson in coexistence and respect for all living creatures. While the sting was painful, the realization that emerged was invaluable. Even the smallest of creatures play an essential role in the great tapestry of life. As days melded into nights, the house often echoed with laughter and camaraderie. Nutmeg, the ever-gracious hostess, relished the company, basking in the attention and love showered upon her. It was evident this was not just a dog but a family member, a heartbeat that resonated with all. One of the most touching instances was when Nutmeg, sensing a profound moment of sadness, nestled close, her warmth providing solace during a challenging time. Her intuitive nature was a testament to the deep bond we shared, a bond that went beyond words. With every sunrise, a new chapter in our shared story unfolded, a tale of adventure, lessons, laughter, and profound love. In Nutmeg, I found not just a pet but a soulmate, a kindred spirit that taught me the beauty of living in the present and cherishing every fleeting moment. In the heart of Jamaica, amidst its vibrant culture and breathtaking beauty, the tale of a human and her dog unraveled a story that was less about ownership and more about companionship, a narrative that celebrated the joy of shared moments and the timeless bond of love. This morning, as Nutmeg and I unwound under the verdant canopy of our favorite haven, the guango tree, my peace was abruptly broken. I found myself amidst an unexpected encounter with Jamaica's smallest residents, fire ants. It was a sharp, biting sensation that alerted me to their presence, a surprisingly forceful sting that seemed disproportionate to their minute size. I glanced down to find a flurry of dark brown ants swarming around my feet. It was clear that my innocent misstep had breached their elaborate mound, causing an invasion of their otherwise harmonious habitat. Faced with this unexpected situation, I found myself intrigued. After all, these tiny creatures, despite their minuscule size, had made their presence known with resounding clarity. I was not merely content to step away and forget this incident. On the contrary, I was now keen on understanding more about these fascinating organisms. As I nursed the sting, I began to appreciate the complex ecosystem that existed just beneath my feet. These fire ants, and indeed all the bugs of Jamaica, have lives just as intricate and interconnected as our own. It's a humbling realization, a reminder that even the smallest creatures play a role in the grandeur of our beautiful Jamaica. Each has a story, a part to play in the island's intricate and mesmerizing tapestry. So, while today's encounter may have been a little painful, it sparked a newfound curiosity. Here's to understanding more about our little neighbors, the insects of Jamaica, and their integral role in our shared home. Here's to the beautiful complexity of life in Jamaica. There is a unique bond between Nutmeg and me, a silent communication that allows her to sense my mood. This morning, it was pure joy, reflected back at me through her eager, sparkling eyes. As we strolled along, we exchanged greetings with our usual cast of characters, the innovative entrepreneur always looking for the next big thing and the ever-watchful security guards standing firm at their posts. Our journey then continued, accompanied by the tranquil symphony of a Jamaican morning. Our favorite spot awaited us, the towering guango tree. It's there where we took our well-deserved respite, stretching our muscles and rejuvenating our spirits. Watching Nutmeg during her stretches always adds a dash of humor to our routine. Her comical attempts never fail to leave me doubled over in laughter. Indeed, these are the glorious moments that make our shared adventures truly worthwhile. The time spent with Nutmeg, my faithful, furry companion, is the highlight of my day. Together, we're embracing the vibrancy of Jamaica, creating a shared tapestry of experiences that, like Nutmeg's playful spirit, is wonderfully alive and infectious. Dreading the Sun by Ray Samber. I can't remember how long it's been. I could feel as he carefully patched pieces of me together until I was big enough to roll. He was wearing his green scarf, black gloves, and blue striped boots over top his gray snow pants and blue camouflage jacket. Flakes of me were falling hard, making it hard to see everything he was doing, but he was working hard to create his vision of me. I started out as a big ball, then after a little while longer I had a smaller ball atop that one, and eventually there was 3 balls atop each other, each one smaller than the one before. I couldn't see or touch anything yet, but I could feel. I felt the care that was put into the formation of each section, with him making sure I had equal padding on all around and each section was a perfect sphere. Suddenly I had eyes, and I could see life all around me. The light was almost too much for me to bear at first, but after a few minutes the sunspots stopped blocking my vision and I could see all that was going on around me. I watched as he meticulously searched for the right branches to use as my arms, and once again I could feel. The cold felt good on my fingertips. It felt right. I can't recall how long I've been gone, but I've missed this feeling of frost coating my arms and the sight of my DNA drifting down from the sky. I realize that I've started to zone out because when I refocus on my surroundings, the boy is gone and I feel alone. Only a few moments pass, but it felt like ages, and finally the boy emerges from his house running towards me with a carrot, and he attaches it to my face, giving me a nose. I can smell the crisp, cool air and inhale a few flecks of snow as I take a whiff. And for my last touch, I need to give you a smile, the boy exclaims as he stands before me with his hands on his hips and a satisfied look on his young face. He scurries off in search of whatever it is mouths are made of, and my thoughts drift to when I last felt life in me. It was a day not like this one, with the snow falling in drifts and all was quiet save for the sound of children's laughter and the occasional beep 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 of snow removal vehicles backing up while clearing driveways. It was a chilly day, but that's just how I like it, because on those days I don't have to worry about making it to tomorrow. The boy comes running up to me from behind the house and carefully secures 5 rocks along my face to form a smile. Perfect. He sighs with his hands placed proudly on his hips. He stands back and admires his work, and I look back at him cheerfully. Hunter, it's time to come inside. A voice calls from the window. OHP, that's my mom, Hunter explains. I gotta go now. I'll come back to play again tomorrow. Now, don't you run off anywhere. He laughs at his joke as he runs through the snow and disappears inside the house. I wish I could, I think in response, but I know that's something that will remain a dream. So many places I'd go just to see if only I could move from this spot, but I suppose I'm content being admired by everyone that passes by. It seems darker out now that the boy has gone inside, and all this coming to life has left me exhausted. There's nothing more for me to do but go to sleep until the boy comes back to play tomorrow, just like he promised. Morning comes in no time, and I awaken to the sound of car doors slamming closed as everyone in the neighborhood get their kids out the door and off to school. I watch patiently for Hunter to come out to play, but the day goes by and the sun moves across the sky and Hunter never shows. Finally, a bus drives down the road and I see Hunter get off with a few friends, and I watch as he walks home while goofing off with his friends. I wait for him to introduce me to his friends, but he doesn't even look at me when he gets to his house and just waves goodbye to his friends and walks directly inside the house. 3 days go by, and he never comes out to play with me. The first night went quickly, but each subsequent night went by slower than the last, and I wonder what I did wrong. Saturday comes and it's a warm day. I can feel the heat of the sun beating down on me and the panic starts to set in. My breathing quickens and my eyes widen as I realize what's about to happen. It's a memory I chose to forget and one I'm dreading to relive, but the sun is making it hard to ignore. It's coming back to me now, the last time I was made. I got to enjoy a few days, weeks even, breathing in the cold air and taking in the life going on around me until that darn sun came out and feeling warmer than ever before. I started to sweat from the memory, or was it from the sun, of how I slowly drooped and caved in on myself as the days wore on. This was the beginning of the end, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. I begged, I pleaded, I screamed, but no one could hear me. I was nothing but a silent snowman made the silently fallen snow, cursed to observe, listen, and feel but never speak and be heard. I grew more deformed each day. Some days the sun wasn't so warm and I could feel the crisp air solidify my skin, but I was already damaged, and Hunter had moved on. After a week of becoming a dilapidated heap, only one of my eyes was left and one of my arms was still sticking out of my side, and out of the corner of my eye I watched in horror as Hunter starts rolling a ball of snow.